The throne room of the Vorkash Dominion was carved from a single asteroid of black glass, and Emperor Threx Volcarnus sat atop it like a spider surveying a web of his own design. Beside the throne, chained to a pillar of reinforced durasteel, a creature the size of a transport shuttle snarled and thrashed. Its 6 eyes glowed molten orange. Its claws had already gouged 3 grooves into the floor. The Vorkash called it a Ashkareth, the Dominion's word for unkillable. Nobody had tamed one in 400 years. Every trainer who tried ended up as a stain on the arena sand. So, Emperor Threx said, his mandibles clicking with amusement as he looked down at the small humans standing at the base of his throne. You claim your species is worthy of a trade agreement. You claim humans deserve respect among the stars. We don't claim it, Ethan said. We just are. The court erupted in laughter, a chittering, screeching sound from 300 alien throats. Ethan didn't flinch. He was 17, lanky, sunburned from the ship's malfunctioning environmental controls, and utterly unimpressed by the theater of it all. Emperor Threx raised a clawed hand for silence. Very well, human. I like your confidence. So I will make you an offer, and I will make it in front of my entire court, so there is no dishonor in refusing. He gestured at the chained beast, which had just torn a chunk out of the durasteel pillar with its bare teeth. Tame the Ashkareth. Ride it. Make it obey you in front of my people. Do this, and I will sign over an entire planet to your federation. Full mineral rights. Full trade access. My word as emperor. He leaned forward, eyes glittering. Fail, and your species will be remembered as the fools who thought they could tame a god. Beside Ethan, his older sister Lyra tensed. She was the Federation's official envoy, the one who was supposed to be doing the talking, the negotiating, the diplomacy. Ethan was only here because their transport ship had broken down near Vorkash space, and there'd been no time to leave him behind. Ethan, she whispered through her comm translator, pitched too low for Vorkash hearing. That thing killed 9 trainers last cycle alone. This is a trap. He wants an excuse to humiliate us on record. I know, Ethan whispered back. Then why are you smiling? Because Ethan had been watching the Ashkareth for the last 10 minutes, and he'd noticed something the entire Vorkash Empire, in 400 years, apparently had not. He stepped forward into the arena pit. The crowd's laughter sharpened into something hungrier. Betting screens lit up along the walls, alien currency symbols scrolling as odds were calculated. Ethan doesn't survive, 94%. Ethan survives, but fails, 5%. Ethan succeeds, less than 1%, a number so small the display rounded it to a decimal Lyra didn't want to look at. The Ashkareth's chain was released with a mechanical hiss. It didn't charge immediately. It circled, 6 eyes locked on Ethan, massive shoulders rolling with each step, claws clicking against stone. Steam rose from vents along its spine. Every previous trainer, according to the records Lyra had frantically pulled up on her wrist display, had tried the same 3 approaches: dominance postures, sedative darts, or brute force restraint rigs. All 3 had ended in a body bag. Ethan did none of these. He sat down, right there in the middle of the arena, cross-legged, hands open and empty in his lap. He sat down and looked at the ground instead of at the beast. The court went quiet. Even Emperor Threx's amused clicking stopped. What is it doing? A Vorkash general hissed. The Ashkareth stopped circling. Its huge head tilted, all 6 eyes narrowing with something that might have been confusion. It had never encountered a creature that didn't either flee or fight. Every instinct bred into it across 400 generations of arena breeding told it that stillness meant a trap, and yet the small human's posture held none of the coiled tension of an ambush. His breathing was slow. His pulse, audible to the Ashkareth's heat-sensing organs, was calm. It took a step closer. Then another. Lyra's hand flew to her mouth. The beast lowered its massive head until it was inches from Ethan's face, hot breath rolling over him, teeth the length of short swords bared in a silent snarl. The crowd held its collective breath, certain this was the moment the human skull would be crushed like an egg. Ethan slowly reached out and pressed his palm flat against the creature's snout. He didn't grip. He didn't pull. He just held it there, steady, the way you'd calm a spooked horse. Not through force, but through the simple, unshakable message that he wasn't afraid, and he wasn't a threat. The Ashkareth went still. For 10 full seconds, Nothing moved in that arena. Then, impossibly, the great beast folded down onto its front legs, lowering its head beneath Ethan's hand, and made a sound that no one in the Dominion had ever heard an Ashkareth make. It purred. The silence afterward was the loudest thing Lyra had ever heard. Emperor Threx rose slowly from his throne, mandibles frozen mid-click, staring down at the sight of humanity's smallest, youngest representative sitting calmly with one hand on the skull of the most feared predator in Vorkash mythology. How? The Emperor finally managed. Is this possible? Ethan looked up, unbothered, still scratching behind one of the Ashkareth's massive jaw plates like it was an oversized dog. You've been breeding these things to be more dangerous for 400 years, he said. Selecting for aggression, for kill efficiency, for size. But you never once asked what it actually wanted. You just assumed a predator has to be handled through fear, because that's the only language your empire understands. He stood, and the Ashkareth rose with him, staying close, its massive head now resting almost protectively near his shoulder. Humans have been living alongside predators for 300,000 years, Ethan continued. Wolves, big cats, things that could kill us in seconds if they wanted to. We didn't survive by being the strongest thing on the food chain. We survived by learning to read what things need, and by being patient enough to earn trust instead of demanding it. He looked around at the stunned court, at the frozen betting screens still displaying odds nobody would ever collect on. You wanted to know why humans deserve respect among the stars, Ethan said. It's not because we're the biggest or the strongest. It's because when everyone else in this galaxy sees a monster and reaches for a weapon, we're the ones who sit down first. The Ashkareth let out a low rumble of agreement, nudging Ethan's shoulder with its snout hard enough to nearly knock him over. A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd, but this time, they weren't laughing at him. Emperor Threx stared for a long moment, then, slowly, began to laugh again, but it was a different laugh now. Lower. Genuine. For 100 years, he muttered, shaking his great head. 400 years, and it takes a human child to show us we were doing it wrong the entire time. He gestured to an aide, who scrambled forward with a data slate already glowing with the terms of a planetary transfer. A deal is a deal, the Emperor said, signing with a flourish of his claw. The planet is yours, Federation envoy. He glanced at Ethan, something like respect flickering in his multifaceted eyes. And should your brother ever wish to study the Ashkareth breeding program, officially, this time, not by walking into an arena unarmed, the Dominion would be interested to learn what else you know that we don't. Lyra finally exhaled, stepping down into the arena to stand beside her brother, one hand resting, still slightly shaking, on his shoulder. You could have died, she whispered. Ethan shrugged, scratching the Ashkareth one more time as it leaned into his palm like an overgrown, deadly house cat. Nah, he said. It just wanted someone to actually listen. Behind them, the beast that had killed 9 trainers in a single cycle yawned, curled up at Ethan's feet like the world's largest, most terrifying puppy, and went to sleep in front of the entire Vorkash Empire.